What's up guys and welcome back to On the Brick, and before we get started today, I need to talk about something a little serious. Earlier this week, my uncle's house was broken into and robbed. Him and his family were left with almost nothing. Anything of value was taken. Their wallets, documents, phones, computers, and TV were all taken. And unfortunately, my uncle and his family are not in a position where it's easy to replace these things. Now, my family and I are doing what we can, but given the platform that I have, I figured I might as well ask for your help. I've gone ahead and set up a GoFundMe page. Guys, literally every single dollar will go a long way for them. The $100 goal that I've set is just an arbitrary number, as really any donations will help. And if you can't donate monetarily, please do consider sharing this video. First, to get the word out, and second, because I will be donating any of the profits I get from it. So I hope you will consider helping, and I will really appreciate it if you did. I know my review of this set is coming out a little later than everyone else's, but part of that is because I simply did not plan to review this set. I actually had a completely different video planned for today, but that's been pushed back, so here you go. This is set number 75299, and it is the Trouble on Tatooine. It contains 276 pieces and is meant for ages 7 and up. This set is from the new Mandalorian series and comes with 3 minifigures, the Child, the Mandalorian, and a Tusken Raider. It's kind of funny how 2 of these characters have actual names and yet they're not used here. Given the Child being named Grogu wasn't revealed until later in Season 2, so I can understand LEGO not knowing that, but we know the Mandalorian's name. And don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining by any means, it's just something I found interesting. The back of the box doesn't have too much going for it. It just shows you the various builds. It shows that you can open up the camp, put Grogu in the backpack, and then shoot the Ballista. So let's see how this thing looks built. And here it is, all 3 pieces of this build put together. You have the speeder, the Ballista, and the camp itself. It was a quick little build and one that I actually found really enjoyable. But let's get a closer look. To start off with, here is the speeder that the Mandalorian takes. This was an enjoyable build, and I love how they have this front part angled down and they make it so it looks nice. Not only do the bars swivel up and down, but the front can be moved as well. And I personally just love how this looks like a junk speeder. Even though there's not like super detail here or anything, you can tell that this isn't some high-end thing. This is something that's been sitting on Tatooine for a while. There aren't necessarily play features on this, but as you can see, there are these clips here which allow you to include or attach both of the Mandalorian weapons. The other thing you can do with this speeder is what was shown on the back of the box. You can take Grogu and put him in the open slot here. He actually fits extremely snugly inside, and every time I've tried to take him out, I accidentally pop his head off. Of course, you can fit the Mandalorian himself on there quite easily, and that is the speeder. I really like this part. I also really enjoy this Ballista that was included. I tried to find a picture of this in the show, but I honestly couldn't. Really, if you type in the Mandalorian Ballista into Google, the only thing that shows up are pictures of this, and that's not really a problem because I do really like how this looks. It makes it look like there's a rope thing here up front. You can also turn the wheel in the back, making it seem like you're loading it up, or if you wanted to, you could lift the back part here. Of course, the main play feature though is this spring-loaded shooter. It works like every other spring-loaded shooter has ever worked. The only thing though is that I am not a fan of spring-loaded shooters at all, and honestly think that I'm just gonna go ahead and take this off. I might try to build like a thing that can hold an arrow or something in here so it doesn't look so empty, but it looks so much better without it. Overall, I do think the design of this is really nice. And then there is the camp itself, which to me personally is my least favorite part of this build, but not necessarily one that is bad. I think personally I would have rather had Cobb Vanth's speeder as well, but that's just me. This is a really nice build. It comes with a little fireplace, and the only feature it really has is that it can open up entirely. This spot here does have bones inside. You're only really supposed to put 1, I put 2, whatever, and of course you can sit a Tusken Raider or anyone else in any of these spots. It does close up quite nicely though, so there's no real issue doing that. Also, this bar in the center is just decoration. This part of the build was obviously repetitive. You can probably tell why that is the case. Even though it looks okay, it still was a bit of a drag to put together. I mean, it's not nearly as repetitive as Big Ben or Tower Bridge, but still. And honestly, I really would have rather have had Cobb Vanth and his speeder than yet another Tusken and this build, but oh well. Speaking of Tuskens, this is the same exact Tusken Raider as the one we got last year in Obi-Wan's hut. The printing on it, the face, everything on it is exactly the same as that one. It's still a good looking figure, there's just nothing new with it. In similar fashion, Grogu is also the same. There's not really any good way of doing this differently. This is a very cheap way to get him compared to buying the full Razor Crest though, so there's always that. But the real reason people are getting this set is of course because of the Mandalorian in Beskar armor, and I just need to say that, yeah, this looks really good. As you can see, the Beskar actually shines and is reflective, and boy can you tell that they put effort into this design. I love that they actually made him in Beskar armor. I think it looks awesome, including arm printing. If we zoom in, you can see that they even have the signet that they were given here, but they didn't lack any details on the other side either. LEGO really did a great job with these. Of course, the question is, how does it compare to the original Mando? Well, here are the two of them together, and you can see how the Beskar version is quite literally just an update. The general shape of his armor is the same, the belt is exactly the same. Of course, on the Beskar version, they did remember to include this fourth bullet here, and the arm printing does take it to a new level. I am very glad that we got this guy in a $30 set as opposed to the Razor Crest, making him more easily available. There is only one thing that I don't actually really like about this guy, and that is the helmet here. It took me a little bit to figure it out, but I think I know what it is. If you look at the printing on his arms and his chest, the Beskar is really shiny and reflective. However, the helmet is not. The gray of the helmet is actually incredibly dull and boring. But since it's all the same material, it should all have the same reflectiveness. Now, to be fair, I can't fault LEGO for that. Making a helmet like that is probably more expensive than it's worth. So honestly, even though I would have liked for it to be shiny, I can understand why it's not. For that said, I think for $30 this is a really good set. You do get 3 mini builds basically, and you get a brand new Mandalorian, which looks really nice. The other 2 figures being repeats kind of brings it down a little bit, but that Mandalorian makes it all worth it. So if you're a fan of the Mandalorian, I would highly recommend picking up this set whenever you can. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Remember to like and subscribe if you liked what you saw, and a huge thank you to all of my patrons, with a special shout out to Jaden, Project Elements, Jonathan, and JVP. And remember how I said I wish that Cobb Vanth Speeder was in here? Well, Nathan there is gonna help me with that on Tuesday. Please do consider checking out that GoFundMe link to help out my uncle. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time.